What's up? Your boy Domuto. We back with another video. Today we're watching UnrealEntGaming Beyond Dragon Ball Super Ultimate Battle Showdown in Universe 7. CC Supercell Max is activated. Get activated. We get activated. Yeah. All right, activated. Shit, I'm ready to get into it, man. You know, I think they just teleported back to Earth back in the last one, so we better get into it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and let go.
As our story now continues, following the initial battle waged on Earth involving the elite demons Kyrax and Kaima, alongside with the demon scientist Sugami having to go up against Ultra Android 17, Ultra Android 18, and now Orange Piccolo, to which it was only just upon with Kyrax being shown having to help up Kaima, as Orange Piccolo had discussed further plans with the androids and having to take these demons down, was when Kyrax then went on to quickly respond, "Here now, Kaima, are you okay? For there couldn't have been any other way in having to go and detect that mortal from approaching us, because had he been spotted just seconds prior," Kyrax adds, "then I have no doubt that he would have ultimately had been taken down before being given the chance to go and strike. And so what exactly do you think our next move is going to be?" With Kaima responding, "Well, our one and only main objective here is to go and make sure that they are all destroyed, no matter what it is that we will have to go and do in order to make sure that this happens, Kyrax. But even now, while I observe these creatures from below, we may not be able to go and get very far with the Namekian here to help aid those androids in battle, and so we'll need to come up with a strategy." As Piccolo went on to address the androids by then responding, "So what exactly do you make of those two down there? Are you actually able to go and take them both down, or would you need for me to go and buy you both a little bit of time while you go and figure out on what you can do to try to go and stop them?" With Ultra Android 17 having to then respond, "Well, they aren't stronger than how we are at this point in time. However, whatever they possess in terms of being able to wield paralyzing techniques," 17 says, "just might end up causing a few issues here for us, but nothing that we won't be able to go and handle, and so we should go and take this time to try to attack them now before they wind up in having to go and try to do what they just did out here to us again." To which it was only just as the demon scientist Sugami was then shown having to appear was when Sugami then went on to address Kaima and Kyrax by then responding, Now, fellow warriors, for there is no need to go and lose focus, as our battle here involving these creatures is still very much far from being over. And while I'm not exactly surprised by the outcome within this current situation here," Sugami continues, "and I must admit that by watching these insects go and get the better of even our most refined hunters is quite irritating to say the least. But don't proceed in having to go on to look so defeated here, fellow warriors, as I had anticipated that this universe was indeed actually going to express its resistance towards us, but this too, however, will not last forever," Sugami continues, "and what I'm about to go and unleash onto them will mark the beginning of the end of Universe 7, and as well as also having this become the ultimate and perfect game changer for us moving forward, as since we had went and had sworn our very allegiance in winning Lord Raijin the day by vanquishing all of his enemies by any means, allow for me to hereby go and offer you both a helping hand of sorts by leveling out the playing field, which will undoubtedly have this battle go and lean within our favor in due time," Sugami says. "And so to our fellow enemies who look down from above, I offer you this single and final warning before having to re-engage," Sugami continues, "that while you may have went and lasted this long by enduring some of the many attacks that we had planned prior to having us arrive within your dying universe, what comes next will ultimately be something that none of you had prepared for prior, as my shadow demons from here on will ensure that you will not survive what's waiting for you ahead, but if you just so happen to do, then you will never go on to live to see another day in being the same as you are right now ever again," Sugami says. "And so prepare for the worst, because this is where the tides will suddenly begin to slowly change within our favor. And so I would go and think twice about what you are all about to go and get yourselves into here if I were you," Sugami continues, upon now having to see Shadow Demon Vegeta and Shadow Demon Piccolo rise up from the ground, "because my Shadow Demons aren't going to be as easy to go and take down as you would all like to assume for them to be, and on top of it all, there is but far more to these warriors of darkness than meets the eye, and so if you expect for this to end within your favor, then I regret to have to inform you all that it won't. But you don't have to simply go and believe me, as you will all come to see this for yourselves," as Piccolo went on to then shockingly respond, "Whoa, please tell me that I'm seeing things down there or anything, because is that Vegeta on the left and me on the right? So these are what those shadow demons look like that are based around the ones that Goku had mentioned. Wait a second, Ultra Android 18 went on to then quickly interrupt. And so are you telling me that those demons can literally go and make copies of us through having us appear through those forms seen down below? As Sugami then went on to continue, oh indeed, but why stop there when we are only now just getting started, am I right? And so just in case if you truly thought that my shadow demons here were going to be all that I was going to go and bring upon you all here today, then you might want to go and turn around and double down on your collective efforts here against us, Sugami says upon having to be shown spawning yet another Leviathan and being shown grabbing onto both 17 and 18 with Piccolo being left speechless. And as I hereby want to go and introduce you all to one of the many Leviathan giants that dwell within the demon realm, which I will guarantee you all here and now that you will not be strong enough to go and survive against. Rose, you've got to actually be kidding me here, Piccolo shouts upon being shown charging up for his special beam cannon. Oh, well, no time then, and so hang in there, you two. I'm going to try to go and blast you both out of that thing's vice grip, but I may need a minute or two here just so I can go and make sure that this No, I don't think so here, Namekian. Sugami went on to quickly interrupt upon having to see Shadow Demon Piccolo attack Orange Piccolo in the sky, because
come on, Piccolo, you know better.
Lord Raijin had made
let your
sure
guard
to
down that
double
quick
down by ensuring our positions across the multiverse and having to go as far as to ensure that we are successful here within our missions, and it's because I am willing to go and stake my life on the line in order to go and make sure that Lord Raijin's will is to be done without having us fail, Sugami continues. No matter how many of you go and decide to try to stand within our way, you will ultimately be met with fire and death along the way, and as I don't intend on going and letting Lord Raijin and the Dark Masters down, no matter how far I will need to go in order for me to go and prove it. Listen to me, 18, we can still go and muscle our way out of this thing's clutches and being able to go and free ourselves, but we'll have to go and act now while we still have the... Well, maybe the two of you must have already forgotten on who it is that you are fighting here, Kyrax went on to then immediately interrupt by having to be shown electrocuting both 17 and 18 alongside with Kaima. But Kaima and I here certainly didn't go on to forget it, and so therefore I think that payback is in order, androids, as Kaima then went on to quickly respond. And before the two of you go and get any ideas here, just know that we aren't going to be standing for it. Not while we're still around, you aren't, and so I want you to go and feel every part of this, android. And as I want you to go and feel every bit of the exact same levels of pain that you had went and put me through since coming here, Kaima went on to continue upon still being shown electrocuting Ultra Android 18. And I promise you that so as long as our great and mighty Leviathan giant is able to go and keep you within his clutches, then I am going to continue to go and use everything that I possibly can in order to go and fry you until there is nothing left of you but particles just blowing within the voids of darkness. Oh dear, this isn't looking good for any of them out there, and unless we are to go and do something soon to help them, Bulma continues upon being shown having to oversee the battle from below, then they won't be able to go and last much longer out there without some kind of a helping hand, Bulma says. And so we'll need to go and do our part by sending out our Supercell prototype, because nobody had went and mentioned anything about them having skyscraper-sized monsters down there within the demon realm, Bulma continues. And so while we still have a little bit of time left, Bulma continues, let's hurry and open the gates and activate the Supercell.
Let's see what this Supercell looking like
right now before those monsters wind up destroying all of us if we don't. Which it was only more over as Orange Piccolo was then shown having to fall face down on the ground and having to now land directly in front of Sugami, was when Sugami went on to address Piccolo by then responding, and just like that, look how quickly you were shown having to go and be brought down onto your knees despite in having to believe in your foolish abilities to honestly be enough to withstand such an onslaught. Now you held on admirably, that much I will give you, Sugami says. However, in the end, you should have been far smarter than to go and choose to go and engage against my precious shadow demons the way you just did, as they were both barely shown in having to even have the need to exert themselves all that much and having to go and bring you down out here against them. And so what are you going to possibly try and hope to do against me now, Namekian? Well, I feel like ripping your head right off those skinny little shoulders of yours is what I really really feel like doing here, Demon, Piccolo says. And so just know that no matter what it is that you go and try and throw within our direction, you will never find yourself succeeding no matter how many of these demons you decide to go and throw within our way. You hear me? With the demon scientist Sugami responding, such anger and such passion. Oh, I hear you loud and clear, Namekian. However, it's a shame that you couldn't go and forward this very attitude in joining Lord Raijin. But nevertheless, I just want for you to go and know that it has truly been a pleasure in having to go and deal with you here, Namekian. And so while I can't promise you that this will be quick and painless, what I will, however, go and promise you is that this will leave an everlasting... Oh, just hurry it up and get this over with then, Demon, Piccolo quickly shouts upon being shown spitting in Sugami's face. As I could honestly go and care less about what your master's will and desires are, and so just hurry it up and get this over with if you are actually going to do it, as I am honestly really starting to get sick of having to listen to you preach, with an angry Sugami then responding, how dare you? How dare you go and spit in my face and act as though there isn't going to be any repercussions to follow? Well, not today, Namekian, and so now take from him what you will, as you are both free to go and tear this mortal apart as you choose, my shadow demons. And as I want for there to be nothing left of him by the time we are done here. But then, it was suddenly just then from out of nowhere, as both Shadow Demon Piccolo and Shadow Demon Vegeta were then shown getting knocked off Orange Piccolo, was when Sugami then went on to continue. What the? And just what in the world was the... Wait, no, it can't be. Oh, damn it, not now. But just how? For I should have known better than to go and think that the Namekian was going to be the last of them to go and get in the way of our plans after saving those androids up there, Sugami continues. And now with the others here and having them shown be standing together alongside the Namekian,
yes, sir. Clutchy Vegeta, man.
Change up our strategy going into this fight against him, Sugami continues, before we end up losing out on everything that we have been fighting to control and destroy along the way if something isn't done, as Beast Gohan went on to address Piccolo by then responding, hey, are you alright there, Piccolo? For we were able to go and sense the battle that you guys have been waging here while on Lord Beerus's planet, and so we came here as quickly as we could when we sensed your energy during the middle of combat, with Orange Piccolo responding, well, I'll be fine for now, but we can't go and allow for them to be given any chance to leave here when considering on how dangerous they are, and so we'll need to go and hurry and end this here on Earth rather than go and let them escape us later on, Piccolo says, with Sugami then having to then turn around by then responding, oh, you've got to be kidding me. Universe 7's God of Destruction Beerus and the savage brute that was seen waging war against that fallen angel Murno who goes by the name Broly. Oh, this is just bad, Sugami continues. Very, very bad, as Kaima then went on to turn around by addressing the others by then responding, there's more of them? But just how and where in the world did they just suddenly go and drop in from out of nowhere like this? But then, it was only from within those very moments now from out of nowhere, as a barrage of rockets and missiles were then shown having to slam directly into the giant Leviathan, was when Ultra Android 17 then went on to quickly shout, and just what the heck are those? Oh, well, never mind that, and so let's hurry and go and get out of Dodge here before we end up getting caught in the middle of these things, 18? Whoa, hey, wait a minute, look over there, Ultra Android 18 went on to then point out upon having to see Kaima and Kyrax being shown getting slammed by multiple missiles, as those missiles and rockets also seem to be smashing right into those other two demons as well over there. But hey, 17, hurry and turn around and having to go and take a look right behind you, to which as Ultra Android 17 did, it was only from within these very moments now, to everyone's shock, as Capsule Corp Supercell Max was then shown having to emerge from Capsule Corp and having to blast his way through. Our heroes were only then met by none other than a functioning cell unit that was built by Dr. Hedo and Bulma, as Ultra Android 17 then went on to quickly respond, it's Cell, but just...
Big Cell.
I mean, it looks kinda like Cell, but are you seeing what I'm seeing on his chest over there too, 18? For I think this gigantic monstrosity of an android just might be on what Bulma and Dr. Hedo had been constructing and working on, while also having to go and mention something about activating him while we were in our stasis chambers. And so I think that this giant monster here is actually going to be on our side during this fight 17 adds. And so just go and take a look at him, for he is just as big as that Leviathan was shown in having to be, and the amount of missiles on this thing is just absolutely ridiculous. But at the same time, this was exactly what we will go and need in order to go and take these suckers down for good, 17 says, as Ultra Android 18 went on to then respond, well, I can't believe that I'm about to go and say this, but honestly, I'm actually rather glad that this giant man-made war machine is on our side for this one, and that is simply because I don't even want to begin to imagine as to what kind of firepower they went and added onto this one. As Beast Gohan then went on to chime in, you've got to be kidding me.
We done turned the tables on these bitch ass
niggas. Our side instead of having to go and attack us, Beast Gohan utters. Well, if I didn't believe in miracles before, then Bulma and Dr. Hedo sure did a good job in turning me into a believer now, because just look at that thing, with the demon scientist Sugami having to then respond. This is now beginning to spiral out of control far quicker than anticipated, as Lord Raijin had given explicit orders that if things had escalated beyond our control, that I am to go and unleash everything that I possibly can if it means in having to ensure our victory, because we will not be able to go and survive this if this goes on to continue the way that it currently is, for their strength is in static, which means that they are learning from one another in real time, and if we go and give them much breathing room here going forward, then they will ultimately go and find a way to unify into something far worse than what we have faced so far, which is exactly what we were trying to avoid, as I was hoping to go and avoid this contingency. But deploying everything now means that we are on the brink of losing everything that we have been striving towards in building, Sugami continues, as I will not go and allow for that to stand, given what we were just able to go and collect throughout the time of having our demons scout their universe. So while I may not exactly know on where some of our most valuable and powerful demon fighters have suddenly disappeared into, Sugami went on to continue, unless they have somehow had already been destroyed by now, then the longer these vermin are allowed to coexist in bringing aid to one another, then the more troublesome they will grow to become, and if that ends up happening, Sugami continues, then I have no doubt that we will end up losing if we allow for this to go and continue. But where are the others, Sugami questions? Where are some of my elite warriors, and just where in the world are the Dark Masters? As I am being left with no other choice than to go and use what lies within our reserves if these mortals continue to go and push back against us like this, Sugami continues. For our mission is to go and remain, lest we warrant to go and be annihilated by Lord Raijin if we are to go and fail, and if that ends up being the case, Sugami says, then I must go and draw upon and call forth yet another one of my shadow clones in order to help even out the battlefield. And so, if those mortals are looking to go and try to take me out first, then I'll go and make sure to go and take a massive piece of them alongside with me, if that's what these little vermin are looking to go and try to do. As no matter what it takes, I will go on to stake my life that Lord Raijin's will is to be done onto this and every other world beyond it, whether I am destroyed within the process of this battle or not, Sugami says, as Beerus went on to then address Sugami by having to then chime in. Now, I wouldn't go and be too hasty here if I were you, because whatever you think is going to honestly be enough to go and stop us won't be remotely near in being what will ultimately be enough to actually go and put us down here, demon. And with Broly here as my go-to monster who is waiting for me to go and give him the orders to attack you, whatever it is that you are getting ready to go and bring out and unleash against us here isn't going to work, Beerus says. But since your arrogance appears to be what is guiding you down this path of destruction here against us, it'll only be a matter of time before I go and set this monster loose onto you, and trust me when I say you will not be ready for what he is all about, demon, with Sugami responding, yes, well, as powerful and as fearsome as your title across many worlds is known for, I could go as far as to reassure you that we are more than ready, willing, and are able to compete against such beasts such as the one whom you are standing next to within the moment. However, God of Destruction, and I hope that you aren't going to go and underestimate what we are still very much capable in having to go and do here, Sugami continues, as I say that to say that just because you end up finding yourself being backed by an unrelenting monster of a mortal doesn't always mean that he is truly capable of having to go and get the job done here against us, because with another one of my many shadow demons having to now join in on all of the action here against you, I wouldn't go and start issuing out without warnings just yet, for there is still much more for us that is left that I am eagerly awaiting to go and show you, Beerus. As if you still wish to go and doubt what we from the demon realm are truly capable of and having to go and do, Sugami says, then go ahead and step right up and I will gladly be happy to show you in the meantime.
Man, you ain't doing nothing,
as
bud.
It was only right then and there
Damn.
during that moment where the Beyond Dragon Ball Super
By
Story of the Dark
Gohan.
Masters, the official Murno sequel, manga chapter number 40 special, then comes to a close.
A quick one. All right, damn. I expected to go that quick. Shout out to UnrealEntGaming for this video. This was a pretty cool chapter. You know what I'm saying? I want to see more of this, the little Super Sale thing. You know, I want to see more of that. But you know what I'm saying? We got Beers, got the big man behind him. So, you know what I'm saying? Broly about to go unleash, and we definitely want to see that as well. I can't wait to see the next chapter. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Check out the last chapter right here, and check out some other videos on my channel. And you know.